Hi all, and sorry for not being around for a while. I have been very busy, but I will be bringing videos now a lot more frequently as it's winter and I do get a little bit more time on my hands. This video today we're going to have a look at window light, and we're going to have a little discussion about window light and how it can help us with our photography. Not only are we going to look at window light, we're going to look at camera settings, depth of field, we'll look at some images on the computer. It may be a few videos, might not be just one. And basically, hopefully at the end of the videos, anybody who's new to photography, maybe new to window light, maybe even those who've been doing it for a while, will have a lot more knowledge on how it works. Just for the price of eggs, I'm going to tell you now, window light is what's lighting me. I have been lazy. I didn't bring my two backlights out to light my white backdrop. It's all just window light, but it still looks good enough and cleared. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the windows I'm going to be using, and we'll have a little discussion about settings and how to set up. I'm a wedding photographer for those who are not subscribed. So if you've just joined me, I do weddings, so I'm more talking for weddings, but this can be applied for any sort of photography you do. Anyway, let's take a look. Right, so I've swapped my camera position so that you can see the whole room. I've manually set the exposure so that you can see me a little bit, because in a minute what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill the light coming through the curtains. So what we're going to do now is, what I want you to take close attention to is the floor. If you can see, if we look over here, that the floor is much brighter than when I get over to where I'm stood here. You'll see the floor is a lot darker here. And that's what I meant by the light fall off. So the closer you get the bride to the highlight, to the window, the darker your background is going to be when it comes out of the camera. So by doing what we're going to do in a minute, we're basically going to kill the light in the room. We can create a highlight over near the window, and this background will be considerably darker. So when we set the exposure for the highlight, we go click, we look at it, we've got a beautiful highlight on the bride or the bridesmaids or whoever you may be shooting, the football or whatever, and you've got a gorgeous dark background. If we shoot that as well with a shallower depth of field, like a f1.4, an f1.8, f2, f2.8, somewhere around there, we're also going to blur the background. So if there's a lot of crap in the background, because there always is, especially for me when doing weddings, you don't want to really see it. No matter how gorgeous the light is on the subject, if your background's cluttered, it still won't be as good a shot as if you blur the background. It'll be much better if it's dark and it's blurred. That's just a bonus. If you don't blur it, then if it falls dark, you could always burn it even darker in Lightroom. But I'm talking about out of the camera, to just put the bride over there and go click and go, holy mother, look at this really beautiful shot. Plus, the nearer you get the bride to the windows, the softer the shadow will be, because we're after that. I'll show you how to pose the bride near the window, but basically we're after that nice highlight and next to shadow, and we want the shadow as soft as can be. Sometimes with me being a wedding photographer, it's a little bit darker than I'd liked, but I can't be bothered to be pulling out reflectors and sometimes external flashes. It's just too much hassle, it takes too long. So I'm happy with what I get, and I'll dodge the shadow up and do a bit of Photoshop on them. And like I say, most of the time I'll set this light up and tell the bride before the wedding to get ready near the window. So when you walk into this room, the bride's there, the bridesmaids are there, they're all getting ready in this gorgeous light, and you can just go take pictures and you don't have to set up loads of shots apart from the ones that you want to get without the makeup artist's hand just flying in way or something like that. But they're already in stunning light. All you've got to do is take pictures. Why would you not do that? Always look for the window light. Now, I'm not just talking wedding photographers here, I'm talking any photography, but I do weddings, so I'm going to talk about weddings, but it works anyway. So what we're going to do is, now mums and dads might go a bit angry about this if they're in the room, because when you do what I'm going to do now, only good cameras can get the picture. iPhones and stuff like that will do it, like, remember, they will work, especially some newer ones are pretty good, to be fair, but they'll want more light in the room. Now, I'm just going to stop you for a minute. What I'm going to do now, you could always open them back up again later on if you wanting to just take a standard photographer's shot, which would mean we could walk in here and bounce a couple of flashes, or bounce a flash off the wall or off the ceiling and illuminate it with light, and don't worry about shadows, just get a nice bright exposure with a low ISO, so you've got clean noise. That's another way of doing it, but doing it this way that I'm going to do it gives you different images than Joe Bloggs, who's just going to come and go, I've got a camera, look, click, bounce flash off ceiling. He's got a nice bright exposure, but that's all he's got. This way you're going to get highlight next to shadow, you're going to get a dark background, you're going to get a bright highlight against the dark background, you're going to have a shallow depth of field. Yeah, everybody's a winner. So what we're going to do is, if I walked in here now, what I would do is, because the background where I'm stood here over to, or wherever, I don't know if my camera's still picking me up, but I should be a lot brighter now than when I come over to here. But there's not a great deal of difference. So I'm going to make it so that the highlight near the window is still the same, but this background's going to drop much darker, so that when I'm near the window practically, to be honest, I could even go out of the door. When I'm clicking, I've got this darker background, which I'm going to get a dark blurred background. Here we go. There. So I'm going to stand here. I don't know if you can see me, but I'm coming back over here now, and point absolutely proven. Look how dark I am. Now, I mean, I might have gone a bit much with the curtains. I'll stop this a tiny bit. There. But there you go. If I now go put that bride over facing that highlight, I'm going to get, you can just see the floor. I'm near enough dark. So you're going to get my exposure, you're going to get on the background. And then when you come over here to the highlight, which you're not going to see, but we're going to get this highlight here. I'm going to stand here now. I don't know if the highlight's going to get me. I don't know if I'm even in the frame, but if you can see this side of my face, which should be lit up nicely now, that's what we're going to get. So we're going to get a nice highlight next to shadow out of the camera. So there's a good tip. But of course, you won't want to take every bridal shot like that, but you could definitely, when the bride's got the makeup on and stuff like that and getting the makeup done, you could take some shots like that. You could keep opening the curtain. I mean, if it's an easy curtain to open. I mean, how long does it take just to go like that? And then you could start bouncing your flash off the ceiling just to fill in the shadows a little bit, so you still get some highlights and shadows. But again, we're talking about window light. So let's remember, what have we learned? Whoever I'll say subject, not bride. Subject as near to the highlight as possible. Expose for the highlight. Try get the background that you're going to shoot against. You might actually, if the window's smaller, I don't know if I've mentioned this, if the windows are smaller, mine are very big. If that window was only one of those windows there, that this background would be darker already without doing anything. So you can always take a shot and think, if I close one curtain, will it make, and then shoot into that dark background. So position yourself so you're shooting into the darkest possible, whether you've got to duck down or you've got to go up, you zoom in, use your lens choice, use your aperture and shoot into the darkest possible background you can, exposing for the highlight, and you're going to get really nice shots. I mean, they're not award winners, but they're going to be stunning. They're going to be better than Joe Bloggs, who just walks in taking shots. Remember, you can also climb up a stool or a step, which you always have. Somebody has a chair, so you can come up here and you can stand up and shoot down. I'll show you some images playing over the top of this video, shooting down on the bride or the bridesmaids. I do it with the bridesmaids as well, shooting down. Get the young little girl bridesmaids and the lads, take them over near this nice bright highlight. Do the same with them, take them shots, because you're going to get stunning shots. I'll show you some on, well, like the fantastic shots, I think, anyway. You're going to get some nice shots, and if you get individual shots of each bridesmaid and each groomsman and page boys and that, the chances are you might sell that shot. Also, and it's dead easy to do because you should have your camera. I always put mine in manual, and if you really want to, I'll give you some tips on exposure, but so it's more for new people. You could actually zoom right into the face of the bride in AV if you wanted, or whatever you want to do. You could zoom into manual, fill the frame with the face, keep adjusting your shutter till you're happy with the brightness of the face, and then you can zoom out and get your nice framing for the dress and or whatever. I mean, it's up to you how you get your exposure, but there's a little tip of how you can get your exposure if you're really bothered. I mean, I just go up the steps, or I just take the shot, and I just know I can just gauge it on the camera screen, near enough anyway. I always shoot a little bit bright. I always do, because then I get a brighter shadow. Whereas if you shoot a stop darker and the highlight looks as you'd really like it, then you've shot your shadow stop darker as well. So I'll sort of shoot a bit bright, where my skin's not blown out, but it's a bit brighter than most people had exposed for. I've then got to stop, usually around a stop more detail in my shadows, if I need it. Sometimes I don't need it, but sometimes I do. So that's how I shoot. I know the people who shoot a bit darker. When I was shooting for Nikon, Nikon always right bright exposures, just out of camera. Canon always shoots dark, I find. So I'm always putting like 3/4 of a stop, not on every shot, but on a lot of shots I tend to be using exposure compensation a lot more than I do on a Nikon. But I'm back to Canon now. So yeah, I hope this helps. I will show you some images, and we will have a look at the mannequin, and we'll move the mannequin. But just remember, we'll also look at poses, because I just know so many people who, yeah, John, I know window light, watch this, and they'll walk up to the window and they'll get the bride to look out of the window, and they'll be stood where I am shooting against the bright background. Now that's okay if we're after a high key image or a silhouette, but that's all that's good for. There's no point saying, look at this gorgeous light, look into it and I'll shoot from the opposite side and get you back. And also knowing how to pose the body, especially on a bride, because what happens is when you put them near this highlight, if they've got the wedding dress on and they've got a white dress, if you don't angle, I'll show you obviously, if you don't angle the body away, basically you turn the face into the light and the body away from the light, so some of the dress gets a highlight and the rest gets a shadow. And that's how you do that, but we'll look at that in maybe part 2. We won't go on about it now, but that's another way of how to pose somebody. You've got to know how to pose somebody. You don't just walk them up to the light and just take a picture. You need to know what you're doing. I've seen, like I say, I've took photographers with me, and I go, we're going to do window shots now, are you all right? And they remotely haven't got a clue. Haven't remotely got even a 2%. They just don't know what they're doing. And posing the way that you pose the head and you pose the body and stuff like that, and watch for double chins and getting the light in the eye sockets, it makes a difference. So you need to be able to have the full package. So you need to understand what we've just discussed today, which is the easy part of it, to be honest. Dead easy to remember what I've told you now. The posing that can be a little bit harder, but it's not really hard once you understand the fundamentals behind it. Like I say today, the fundamentals are, let's forget what we did, just fundamentals of being able to do it, narrow down the light so that the background is darker, use a shallow depth of field, and get the subject as near to the highlight as you can. They're just the 3 fundamentals, and then everything else is easy after that. So what we'll do is we'll give you the fundamentals of how to pose and how to pose the body and how to put the head in, and a few little tips to look out for, like double chins and big arms and stuff like that. And once you know the fundamentals, I think you'll be well on your way. Right, I'll just show you again while we're on. I've closed one of the curtains. I mean, I won't close that one. I'll leave that one there. I'm going to open the far curtain and show you what happens to the background. Hang on. I'll walk away. Are we ready? There's the background. So you'll see the exposure difference. For the purpose of the video, I'm going to leave the background. I mean, to be fair, it's still dark enough, if I'm honest. You'd get away with that with a shallow depth of field, but you can see if we move them curtains and we direct that light, how it helps us quite a lot. Anyway, to be honest, I'd like to put the subject nearer to the window, but I can't because I've got a big bloody tripod there with my camera on it. That'd even make more difference. The background would even be darker, but I can't, so sorry about that. Thanks for watching. Please comment and subscribe, and a big thumbs up would be nice, as I've not been around for a while and it just shows a bit of appreciation. Thank you very much.